some way of Usui people, and there are now coming into it a substream of people originating from the AIRA, and there are other streams, so to speak. And each of the masters actually that my grandmother initiated have done their own thing, and some of them I feel like have in some ways stuck. Is that the right word? No. But anyway, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Has stuck to the tenets of the Usui system of natural healing, and others have gone outside of that. And that feels okay to me, because it's their thing, I feel quite strongly that we are Reiki masters because we have taken this commitment to our own healing. And it's not my place to say, well, this is the path of your healing. You should do it in your own way, and I respect that a great deal. So for me, this is not an organization as such, the Reiki Alliance. It is for me a group of masters coming together for I really feel like for some purpose we don't even know about yet. We don't have a clue. But what we're doing is we're beginning relationship. We're beginning the bonds of community. We're beginning to sort out all these kind of data things that will assist us then when the real purpose comes around, that we'll be ready. And if it's just to have a good time, that's okay for me too. I don't have much on one hand, I don't have any real heavy expectation. On the other hand, the possibility of this being a group of people who can truly affect world change is really there. The potential of 400 Reiki masters coming together in a room and talking is just, the potential is unlimited. So all I'm saying is that there's excitement for me, and sometimes I get very impatient with the process, and other times I really see that it's just our growing up process. We've only had 9 weeks together, and a lot of the masters don't know each other. I'm the person in the whole organization who actually has met most of the people on the list. And I'm one person out of 400. That's nothing. I can't run the organization. I can only be a voting member. I can lend my viewpoint, but in reality, it's a membership where everybody gets one vote, and your vote counts. Guys down here. So for me, one of the things that's very important, and I'm going to say this to every country's masters, and all the masters in the Alliance, is that I want it to be a participatory organization. I want it to be a participatory group of people. I don't want you to join the Alliance and just pay your dues and buy blue books and certificates, I want you to, when it's time for you to be on the board, I want you to come to the meetings. I want you to not think, oh, can I afford it? I want you to just put that time aside every year and know that that's something you're just going to do, that you're going to make that space for the conference. Now, there may be years when it's not your time to come. It may be years when it's really important for you to do something else, and that's okay for me. But there are lots of members of the Alliance who haven't come to a meeting for 7 years, and that's not okay for me anymore. I participate in it. I don't even think about not going. And it's not like I, a lot of times, have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to get my airplane ticket to go, or, kind of scrape around for the time or whatever. But it's not even a thought for me. It's my commitment to the group. And so I just want to put that out as my little soapbox for the Reiki Alliance these days. And one of the things just to go into the Australia thing, is that one of the things about Australia is that you have a gift to bring to the Alliance. It's a very important one. You know, each country has its own personality and its own gift to give an organization like this. And it's important for you to be there. I'm very sad to know that there are some of you here who have just dropped the idea of going to the conference because I happen to come. I would just like to say to you that I would like for you to be inspired to go because I'm here. And because in this group you will just get a very small taste of what the meetings are like. Think about sitting in an international group with 120 other Reiki masters. You know, from as varied and sundry places as you can think of, you know, people who have almost been initiated by God in some way, and other people who have trod the hard road and waited for years and years and years, and, you know, like that. It's just, you get all kinds of people. I mean, you look around and you think, are you kidding me? But, you know, people open their mouths, and out of their mouths comes this experience and wisdom that you can totally relate to. It's so fascinating and so magical that I just want you to be inspired. So I know that it's a lot of money, and I know that it's a lot of time. And the other thing is, I know that once you start the pathway out of Australia, that it'll be easier next time. And it'll just get easier. And once that road is built, it'll be very easy for people to come here. You know, I went to Europe for the first time like my Reiki history about 8 years ago. And it took a lot of doing. And Michael came with me, and we went, and we were there for like 3 weeks. And it was very, very difficult for me, and cost me a lot of money, I thought. The next year I went back, and I stayed for a month or something. But after that, I just started going, and now it's just like, I mean, it's actually harder for me to fly to New York City than it is for me to fly to Frankfurt. I don't know why, but it is. It's like that pathway now. I do the trip 2 or 3 times a year. It's just nothing. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to Europe. It's not a problem. And the same thing's happened in Australia. You know, because I've gone to Europe all this time, I thought the trip here would be really terrible. And so I had like 5 books in my little carry-on, and I had correspondence, and I had 3 tapes to listen to, and I had 2 movies to watch on the airplane, plus, you know, eating and sleeping and all that kind of stuff. And I hardly read. I didn't write 1 letter. And it was so easy to get here. It was like I got on the plane in LA. The hardest thing was getting on the plane in LA knowing I wouldn't land until I got to Sydney. I went, holy shit. That's a long way. But, you know, it was just such an easy trip for me. And, you know, the next time I come, it'll be easier. And it'll be easier, and it'll just be a road. So I really would love to inspire you to get on the good road out of Australia and to make that road for other masters, because it is going to bring them here. You've got something to give that we need now. It's time. You know, it's really time. And it's time for you also. You know, this is a community that's been strong ever since the very beginning. I was so blown away when Marta came and she said, listen, I could just live there. I said, really? She said, yeah, you know, and there's just so much going on down there. I said, but there are not very many people there. She said, it doesn't make any difference. She said, I could just be there. And I talked to Beth, and I talked to lots of Reiki masters who came down here. And this community has absorbed Reiki. And I hear that in your stories. And it's really nice to be here with people who've had Reiki for 10 years or 5 years. I mean, you know, it's just wonderful. I mean, Reiki took off in Holland. Let's see, how long have you been a master? I guess 6 years now, this year. And I don't know how many thousands of Reiki students there are in Holland. But, you know, it's just an amazing thing to sit with masters from other countries. It's an amazing thing to hear their stories and to go to those places and to have student gatherings where you get to like be in 100 of these people. In Holland, they have a student reunion that at 300 they have to cut off the registration, and there are 300 Reiki people, dancing and singing and having a great time together for a weekend. It's a trip, and it's wonderful, So it's just a part of my vision about Reiki that I would love to share with you. And I really feel like and I tell my students this too, that I initiate. They say, well, now I have to be a part of the Alliance. And I say, no. It's really important that you decide for yourselves if this is really what you want to do. Because it is another kind of whole arena of being a Reiki master. It's like really, truly entering into a commitment of community with Reiki masters. And so it takes up more time. It takes up, more money. It takes up more space in your life. And they'll bug you, they'll want you to be on committees and, talk your piece and do all that stuff. And and we're activating. It's a really beautiful space these days. So a lot of my masters aren't members. So it's not about exclusivity for me as much as it is a choice for you. And I don't have any judgment about people who want to be in and want to be out. One of the most beautiful things for me in Holland is that when we started out doing masters intensives and gatherings like this 6 years ago, maybe 3 out of 10 masters were Reiki Alliance members, and then there was a time when there were about 5 out of 20, and it just didn't matter to them. They were willing to come and be together as a community, and I want to stress that. And this is not a meeting of the Reiki Alliance, but it feels important for me in some way, for me to be an emissary of the Alliance, and for me to tell you what my passion is about the Alliance. And for the first time in years, I feel like the Alliance board and myself are on the same track, which is a relief. Because for the last 4 years or 5 years or so, we've been sort of slugging it out. And I haven't been very clear. My whole process through my breakup with Michael and this whole mastery thing and so on made things very mucky for the Alliance. Gave them lots of problems they didn't want to deal with. And has taken up a lot of our time, and so they've gotten resentful about that. But for me, it's a very precious time in finding out who we are. It's kind of like, the first couple of years you're a Reiki master, you kind of like wonder who you are, and you go to classes and you go, well, how am I going to teach? Like, I can't teach like her. And, I had this terrible thing with my grandmother about, well, I'll never teach like her. And of course now I'm teaching more and more like her every moment. It's a little scary, but obvious. So I feel like we're finding our identity. We're finding who we are in the world. Everybody in the Alliance has had to look at their own boundaries, about their own precious feelings about Reiki, their own precious feelings about the Usui system of natural healing, their wonderings about the lineage, and their wonderings about me. I'm like, who is she? And are you crazy? And how can she be the person, Sometimes I've wondered that myself. But now it feels like it's coming together, and that's really beautiful for me. So the whole thing about, getting people to have an emissary, sort of a collection point for the Alliance, my suggestion to you in this meeting is to think about it, because a lot of you are Alliance members, and to just do it for yourselves. one of you can just take it on and say, okay, look, you guys, what I need from you is, I'll order them, but you need to pay 25 cents more a book to cover my time, or something like that, or you all divvy in $25 a year or something for that person, and then they get to, because I tell you, phone bills and time of sending it out and stuff like that, it's a lot. But you could do your own. And they wouldn't care in Cataldo. You would just order cases of books, 3 months early and just, distribute them. And I mean, it can be done. You could run your own bank account down here. Well, I hear bank accounts are pretty weird.
You could still do it. Just takes a little time.
That's right. You could set up your own non-profit organization already. It's like that can already be happening. I really encourage you not to be victims of some other organization, but but to do your own thing, because I think it's feasible. And I tell you, the people in Cataldo and what they're dealing with right now is so mind-boggling that I'm sure it'd be a relief for them. I'm sure it'd be a relief for you. And it's very hard. So what they want for me, of course, is this little report back, like, what's it like down there? Who are these people? And, all of that kind of stuff. What are they really like?
Don't jump around with kangaroos.
Like kangaroo.
So that's about all I have to say about the Reiki Alliance. And I would really be open to fielding questions and comments, so I can really take that back to the Alliance and to the board and to the meeting. You'll be there, right? Okay. Where else?
Not that she's going.
So, are there any questions or comments?
Just one thought about
Yeah.
going to the meeting in Spain, and that is if people were interested, maybe we could get a group booking, which would make the flight there a bit cheaper. Just throw that in.
If you're real quick, there's a flight arrangement between Singapore Airlines and KLM, which gets you to Amsterdam for just under $2,100, and you can take 2 free side trips. And one of the cities you can go to is Barcelona. I guess I've got a slightly different. I'm probably the only one in this room that doesn't have Phyllis in the Reiki lineage. Does anyone else not have Phyllis in the lineage? Anyway.
Oh, I think there are quite a few.
There was. Anyway, getting back to the Alliance, I went there not knowing at all what it was, not even sure that I wanted to be part of it. But that was the key thing. I mean, I think you only benefit from it if you do participate. It's not like belonging to the Royal College of Surgeons and things like that, where you sort of get meaningful articles every month.
Meaningful articles.
It doesn't work like that. What you take away from Alliance meetings, you take away inside you. You can't write it down, and you can find it extremely difficult to communicate it to other people when you get back. The way I look at it is basically Reiki, the way we use it in our own lives is for ourselves and our own growth. But there is also if you like, a group consciousness of Reiki masters, and that work gets done only when you come together.
I don't actually remember. It says something like an association of Usui system masters or something like that. Is that right?
I can't even remember it as well as that, but that sounds like
Something like that.
Is that the kind of the official seal of the Alliance?
Well, I've forgotten about the whole. Now I have to talk about something I don't like. See, this is for me where culture and Reiki kind of come together in not a very great way for me yet. It doesn't feel good in my body yet. How we got to call it Reiki and how this particular form came about was through a man who lived in Japan. And because the lineage has come down through the Japanese culture in some way, we have, along with that discipline, also acquired some cultural aspects that I don't think really have anything to do with the actual discipline. And I can't actually sort those out for myself yet, but this is my feeling. And in Japan and in China, they have these things called poems, which basically was to have you sign something and then you stamp your seal saying that this was really your signature.